we'll just go right into the introduction because we have a lot to learn today. Okay, so Susan David Aaron is an experienced business analyst with over 5 years of experience in the industry, specializing in bridging the gap between business needs and technical solutions. With a deep understanding of both domains, Susan has successfully led numerous projects to enhance business processes, improve operational efficiency, and drive organizational growth. She currently works as a senior business analyst at Cool IT Systems, where she is spearheading the implementation of software applications to automate business processes. In addition to her technical expertise, Susan is passionate about mentoring aspiring business analysts and sharing insights on effective job search strategies and resume optimization. She also mentors other professionals aspiring to transition into the field of IT. After completing her degree in electrical engineering from the University of Ibadan, Susan embarked on a career journey that included navigating the competitive job market and overcoming various challenges to secure a role as a wells engineer in Shell. She later transitioned into a career in business analysis. She faced numerous hurdles, including identifying the right opportunities, tailoring her resume to stand out, and mastering the art of interviewing. Through resilience, continuous learning, and strategic networking, Susan not only secured a BA role, but also excelled in her career as one. Awesome. As a speaker, Susan brings a wealth of practical knowledge and first-hand experience, providing valuable guidance on overcoming the common and unique challenges faced when seeking a business analyst role. She will also delve into actionable tips for revamping resumes today to highlight relevant skills and experiences, making them more appealing to potential employers. When not immersed in her professional work, Susan enjoys reading, going on walks, and spending time outdoors with family and friends, which she believes contributes to a well-rounded and balanced life. Awesome, that's great. So, in addition to her bio, Susan is speaking from Canada, and we are happy to have you here, Susan. Susan, over to you. Thank you for coming to Dobac. Thank you for joining our session, and thank you for being a speaker.
Thank you so much, David, and thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon from here. I'll probably say good evening over there, because I've heard Lagos, I've heard Nigeria, and I know David is in the UK, so you guys are already in the evening. It's past 12 noon here, so it's in the afternoon in Canada here. It's nice to meet all of you. I'll just share my screen now.
Yeah.
So I think how the session will go, I have 3 different sections for this particular series. So after each section, then we can ask our questions. I'll just take a couple of questions before going into the next section of the presentation.
Awesome. I can see your screen.
I can see your screen. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So and I have 2 screens. So if you see me looking at the other way, I'm just looking at my second screen. So I'm not directly facing the camera. So yeah, like David mentioned, today we'll be speaking on, or I'll be sharing my BA journey with you guys. Also speaking on career coaching and BA professionalism. My name is Susan David Aaron, like he mentioned. I'm a senior business analyst with Cool IT Systems. I'm also a career coach and a co-founder of CODA Consulting. A career pivoter, like you would have probably noticed in the bio that David shared. So I studied engineering as my first and second degree, and I started my career as an engineer. Technically, I mean, I interned as a telecommunications support specialist, but then after school, I started my career as a wells engineer and that would probably be like a petroleum engineer, known to a lot of people. So I didn't quite start my career doing what I studied in school. So it was a totally new learning process for me. For 2 years, I was taught on how to be a petroleum engineer and do my job properly. So I started my career developing skills that were unknown to me, basically. So that was the foundation of my career. And ever since then, I've just been picking up skills as I've gone ahead in my career journey. So I moved from engineering, and then during my engineering journey, in my career with Shell, I started picking up, I started being handed over projects. So I started picking up project management and business analysis skills as well, and opportunities, gathering requirements for engineering projects I was working on, and basically managing the project and managing vendors that were doing the engineering projects or the petroleum engineering projects for us. After I moved, that was all in Nigeria. So I moved to Canada, I think 3 years ago. And then when I moved to Canada, I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to continue in the oil and gas line, or I wanted to go full into IT. So at first I picked up a role because I had a previous experience as technical support in a telecommunications firm. I said, okay, let me go try technical support. So I pivoted into technical support, did a bit of that for a couple of months. I found out it was not exactly what I wanted, majorly because, well, I guess the company I worked for, most of our clients were from the US, and guys from the US are very direct, and they tell you how it is, basically. Let me summarize it that way. So I didn't really have a lot of fun doing technical support to people who probably were not even appreciative of your work or your effort in helping to resolve their issues. And so I sort of like decided full time that since I had already gained business analysis skills, I was just going to pivot into the business analysis career path. And that was then when I started my whole resume journey. I mean, I had spent like, at this point, say 6 to 7 years in Shell already. And I was comfortable working. I didn't know what the job market was all about. And so I wasn't quite prepared to be going into the job market searching for jobs. And so it actually took me as a shock. And I found it, I had to navigate through the waters of job searching and job seeking. And that's the journey I will be sharing with you today. Because I know that a lot of people have reached out to me after then saying, and who face the same difficulties, especially those who are trying to pivot into the IT field. And I feel like my experiences sharing it will help them, and it will help other people as well. So before we go into me sharing my experiences, we'll just have an icebreaker. I feel like I've already given out some of the answers to this, but anyways, we'll still go through the icebreaker. So first icebreaker is about guessing a lot of us, or most of us here, are business analysts by profession. So I'll say, so let's drop in the chat. What's the one thing about business analysis that you love? Like what keeps you, what drives you to continue to be a business analyst? Just one thing that you love about business analysis. Let's just drop it in the chat.
Hello. Yeah, good to hear from you. One thing I like about business analysis is requirement gathering. Gathering requirements as regards the company, the projects, from the sponsor. It's really very interesting, because you get to meet the sponsor, you get to meet some of the stakeholders that are also willing, to share whatever they want to share with you concerning the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy, for sharing. And Rose says in the chat, optimizing processes. Tinola says providing solutions. Great, yeah, I like that as well. Providing solutions, logical thinking, definitely. Zainab says logical thinking. So great. While we're still dropping that in the chat, I'll move to the second icebreaker. So 2 truths and a lie. I've given one away already, so I guess you already know it. So these are the 3 things. Which one is the lie among the 3? First one is I studied electrical engineering. Second is my first car was a Nissan. And 3, I have 2 siblings. Which one do you think is the lie? You can drop in chat, or we can also unmute ourselves.
My first car was in the sun. Is the line. Yeah.
Okay, any other person? Okay, so actually Tinola did get it. My first car wasn't a Nissan, it was a Lexus. Yeah, so so great. My current car is a Nissan, but my first car was a Lexus. So great, Tinola. You seem to be very good at making guesses. You make a very good business and excellent business analyst. Getting it right already.
Thank you.
Great. So we'll just delve ahead. And yeah, I see people still placing in the chat. Jude says creative problem solving, definitely. Memsi says collaboration, definitely. I mean, you learn to meet a lot of stakeholders, you learn to rub minds with them, trying to figure out what solution will best fit their needs. And yeah, all these things are definitely the perks and what we all enjoy being business analysts. So this is basically how the presentation will go, the outline. I'll speak about the hurdles I crossed when I moved to Canada and trying to secure a job as a business analyst. I also speak about job search strategies that helped me secure that role, and I will speak about BA Professionalism. So before we go into hurdles crossed, I just want to have a feel of, the demographics of those on the chat, or on the call today. So are we? Just say, let's sort of like raise our hands to the chat. How many, if just give a wave or something, how many of us are here that are currently job searching? Okay, say 1%, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, quite a lot number. Okay, all right. And then how many of us are looking to pivot, like into a different job or a different industry currently? Okay, Jide, Lemsi. Okay, great. Thank you. And how many of us just want to learn about how we can develop our careers as a business analyst? We're currently in the role. We just want to know how to do better. Okay. Okay, so we do have a great population in everything. Okay, just to help me know where I should focus on more. Looks like it's almost balanced. I think a greater number are job searching. Okay, so I was speaking about the hurdles I crossed and the lessons I learned while searching for a business analyst role in Canada, and a lot of us job searching, I would say initially I thought it was just me, but when I started speaking to others, I found out that it's a typical path that a lot of us follow, a lot of us face when we're trying to seek roles, and basically how challenging it can be. So the first thing, so if you are going through any of this now, just know that it's normal. You're not different. It's a normal thing that we all go through when we're looking for jobs. And so just encourage yourself, or just tell yourself that you will continue to forge ahead and you continue to put in those applications until you finally secure the role that you want. So the first thing is high expectations. Like I mentioned, I left Nigeria. I was working in Shell Oil and Gas. And then I moved to Canada. And because of that, I had to, initially I worked remotely for a while, but then after COVID, so I moved just before COVID, or during COVID, at the onset of COVID. And so after that, after COVID ended, we called back to the office, and obviously I couldn't go back to Nigeria. So that was sort of like the end of my career there. So going into the job market, I had high expectations. I mean, it can't be that bad. I've worked for 7 years. I should be able to get a job probably like a month or so. So I had a high expectations, and I know a lot of us, when we start job searching, will have high expectations. We're probably fresh out of an old job, or fresh out of college, fresh out of school, fresh out of grad school, and we feel, oh, just like in a month we can get a job. You absolutely can, but then there's also the chance that in a month you might not get the job. So the lessons learned here is, well, when you're looking for a job, manage your expectations. So don't think that it can be achieved in a month. a job search is pretty tough nowadays. There are a lot of people in the market, even very experienced people are being laid off every day. So it makes the job market even tougher. And so when you embark on the job search journey, I would say set your expectations right. Give yourself enough buffer. So how it affected me was that I told myself, oh, 1 month, 2 months, I'll be able to get a job. And I sort of like framed my mind towards that, and also sort of like framed my finances as well towards that. So I was still at the beginning, I was still spending normally, still doing everything I need to do. I wasn't cutting costs or anything. But then after like 2 months, I hadn't gotten the role that I was expecting. Then it began to dawn on me that the finances were running low, and I needed to start managing my finances and managing my expectations. So when you start a job search journey, first thing is manage your expectations. It can come in a month, it can come in 2 months, but I also have friends, or I've read stories of people who stay as much as 6 months in the job market before getting a job. It all depends. So manage your expectations is the lesson here. So the second phase I went through was disappointment and rejections. I'm sure a lot of us have gone through that phase. You apply and the same day you're getting a rejection mail. Put in like maybe 5-10 applications a day, and the next day you open your inbox and you see 10 rejections or the 5 rejections that you applied to. And it's sort of like, drops your morale, because you don't expect that. You expect that your resume will at least will get somewhere and get seen by a human being and get reviewed and stuff like that. Even if you get to, I will get to an interview stage and at least get somewhere. But then when you start receiving instant rejections on your applications, then it sort of like drops morale, and we get disappointed. We start losing our morale, or we start getting tired of applying. So the lesson I learned here is to understand that rejections can also be caused by factors that are outside of your control. It might not just be you, like your resume or you in person. There's several times I've applied to jobs, gone through interviews, and then the company comes back to say, sorry, we are on hiring freeze. We can't hire anymore. I've read about stories of people who had been given offer letters and it was withdrawn because the companies put themselves in hiring freeze, or they decided to cut costs just at the point you were going to go into the company. So sometimes it's not all about you. It's not all about your resume. It's not all about your interview, whether you did well or you didn't do well. Sometimes it might just be external factors outside of your control. So don't take rejections or disappointments personally. Rather, take it as a way to move ahead. Learn your lessons. Especially if you have gotten to an interview level and your recruiter was ambitious enough to give you feedback, take that feedback and build upon it for the next interview, and try to do better for the next interview. Now, the third part I went through was ghostings. Now, ghosting, that's a case. So recruiters, ghosting at the first stage of interview, not painful. You just did HR interview, no worries. But then when we've done the first stage, the second stage, the third stage, and then you get ghosted at that stage, then you begin to ask yourself. So I got to that point, I began to ask myself, like, what exactly is wrong? Like, there must be something wrong with my interviewing skills. So I personally, I'll say the initial phase where I had issues not getting interviews was when I needed to understand how the Canadian job market worked. But as soon as I understood that, I was going through interviews like a breeze. I had interviews every other week. But then at the interview level, then after the interviews, I'll get ghosted. I'm like, what's happening? Like, is it me? Is it the way I'm being? Is it my interviewing skills or stuff like that? But then ghosting is just pure, I'll say I don't even want to give it a word. I expect, and every recruiter, especially when you've gotten to an interview stage, at least be able to give you feedback. If not detailed feedback on how you did, at least feedback saying the company will not continue with you. So you will go through that phase of ghosting. Recruiters will ghost you. Like, you have interviews and you will not hear from them again. You send them emails and they will not respond. It's all part of the process. I'm not saying it's right, but it's just what happens. So don't let the ghostings get you down. In the first place, if the recruiter for the company you want to work for is not gracious enough to send you a feedback or a rejection email, then you ask yourself, do you really want to work for that company in the first place? It means that communication is a real problem in that company. do you really want to work for that company? Is that if you do get into that company, then you know that you're going to battle with communications. It will continue to happen. So recruiter ghostings was something else. So don't get, laid back by recruiter ghostings. It will happen. It's just stuff that happens. But then just tell yourself that if the company is not good enough, or they don't feel that they should communicate back to you after investing your time in having interviews, to get back to you, to give you at least graciously tell you that they won't be moving ahead with you, then I personally don't think it's a company you want to work for in the first place, because they obviously have a bad culture and need to deal with it. Now, the fourth phase is self-questioning. Like I said, you begin to question yourself. Is it me? Is it something I said during the interview? Is it something I'm not doing in my resume? Is it something I said during the negotiation phase? Is it that I rated myself too high, I bid it too high or too low or something? You question yourself, and it's fine to question yourself, because even leaders question themselves. It's the only way you develop. It's the only way you find out if there are faults that you need to fix, or if there are things that there are weaknesses that you need to convert into strengths. So yes, self-question is question yourselves, but don't let it affect your confidence, and which takes me to the last one. Don't let it affect your confidence. I know that I got to a stage where I told myself I wasn't going to apply again. And I think for 2 weeks I didn't do any application. I just faced doing professional courses just to acquire the skills and to have certification to back up those skills that I have. So and then after that I just picked up myself and I started applying again. So don't let the self-questioning phase get you down. Build up your confidence. The more you continue to apply, the more you continue to get interviews, the more you build your confidence. A lot of people have asked me, like, when it's especially those who are trying to pivot into the new field, because you're very unsure, you're battling with imposter syndrome, you don't know at what point you feel like you should be confident enough to start interviewing. Just start interviewing. You cannot build confidence if you don't interview. So don't wait till you are confident to apply. Basically apply to build confidence. It's the process of you applying and going through interviews that begin to build your confidence. And believe me when I tell you, your confidence shows when you're doing interviews. The interviewer can see it, that you are confident, and it rates you higher, and it gives them a positive feeling about you when you are speaking with confidence. And you can only get confident when you have gone through several interview stages or several bouts of interviews. That's only when you can build that confidence. So now we're talking about job search strategies. I don't know if I have any questions before we move into the second phase, David. Do we have any questions before I move into the job search strategies? Okay, great. So, is someone trying to speak?
Yeah, Ademola has his hand up.
Okay, so thank you so much for that enlightenment. So my question basically will be, although you've shared almost everything, but my question would be, how were you able to, I can't say survive, but how were you able to cope during that time? Like, because I'm actually in that situation now, feeling that, I've applied severally, but you get rejected and all that. But my question is, how do you manage to cope just to boost my morale?
So the only time that you fail is when you stop trying. That's my definition of failure. You stop trying. As long as you continue to try, then you cannot say that you have failed. Failure is just when you stop trying. So you just have to, if you don't give it your best, nobody's going to give it your best for you. You know where you are going. You know the goals you want to achieve. You know where you want to be. Nobody can live your dream for you. Nobody can help you achieve your dream but you. So you just need to keep telling yourself that you have a goal and you need to get there. Failure is just, when during my graduate studies, I did a lot of research, and they tell you that when something works or you fail at one thing, it's just, you didn't actually fail. You just found out a way not to do it. One more way not to do it. So you can, at that point, you can confidently tell somebody else who wants to go down your path, that is not the way to go. Don't go there. So you didn't actually fail technically. You just found out one more way not to do it. And you know that way will not work. So continue to put yourself out there. Continue to try. It's when you stop trying that you have failed. All these rejections are just building you up. They are just helping you get better. They are sharpening you up. So don't give up. Just tell yourself that this is the goal I want to achieve and continue to work towards it. You can take a break like I did, but don't take a break for too long. Maybe take a break for a week just to rest, just to, do something else aside job applications, but then bring back yourself on time and continue it. I hope that helped.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, Omoti, I think.
Thank you so much, Susan, and we really appreciate you. And I want to ask, I love the word you say, apply to build your confidence. But in a situation whereby you're applying and for over 2-3 months, nothing is coming forth, you keep losing your confidence too. So I don't know how you were able to cope. Is it that when you start applying, then you see recruiters calling you, by that, at least you'll be able to prove yourself and say, oh, this is the way I said it here. But in a situation whereby you just apply and nothing is coming forth, I keep losing my confidence in that. I don't know, maybe it's the right time to ask this question. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, we're still going to speak on it, but then if you're applying and you're not getting interviews, then you know that or getting calls for interviews, then you're going to ask yourself, is your resume good enough? Is your resume standing out? That's one thing you start to ask yourself. So there are different things that you look at. There's the factor of the resume. There might also be the factor of, job market is saturated. So you also want to go into networking, telling people or trying to network with people, network with recruiters. There are different strategies that you apply to see that you are moving from one stage to the other. But the first question you ask yourself, if you're not getting called for any interviews, you need to take a look at your resume. Is your resume standing out? Is your LinkedIn, if you're applying on LinkedIn, is your LinkedIn profile standing out? If a search is done on LinkedIn, does your profile come up? Do you have the keywords there? And we're going to speak about some of those things in your LinkedIn for you to pull up when they're searching for that kind of role. So, that's one way. Like I said, initially I wasn't getting interviews as well. But as soon as I discovered how the Canadian job application system works, how their resumes are tailored, how they actually pull out searches for people, and I revamped my resume and revamped my LinkedIn profile, I started getting interviews. During that time, I was also still doing my support interview. So I was like, every other week, I would have interviews that I was scheduled for. So you want to the core part is take a look at your resume and your LinkedIn profile, your branding. Are you branding yourself right for that role that you're applying for? Okay, so I'll just delve into the job strategies. You're welcome. Okay, so the first thing is mindset. So when you're applying for a job, you need to go in with a positive mindset. Now, the first thing about mindset that I've discovered is, and I think this applies most especially to women, when we look at a job description, we feel like we need to meet 100% of that job description before we apply for that job. Totally wrong. In a way, men have it better here because I guess they're more outgoing, they'd like to take decisions. I like to say men, and apologies for all the men around here, and I'll use a Nigerian word now. Men like to bobo a lot, so they are used to it. When they were asking their wives out, they were boboing, they were speaking all those sweet words. Even when they didn't mean it, they were still saying it. So they are used to that. They are used to bringing out themselves, even if they don't have the qualified necessary skills, they still put themselves out. But women, on the other hand, we tend to want to be reserved. We want everything to be perfect before we put in our this, and that is totally wrong. So in job search, when you look at the job description, as long as you can meet 50% of the job description requirements, go for it and apply. A job description is not I see it as a wish list. That's what the employer wants. It doesn't mean it's going to get it. For those of us that are parents, your kids come and say, I want this, I want this, I want this. It doesn't mean they're going to get it. So a JD is a wish list that the employer wants. Oh, I wish you had this. I wish you could, you knew about this ERP. I wish you have ServiceNow skills. I wish you have Salesforce skills. I wish you can work with SAP. I wish you know how to use Visual and how to use Lucid Chat. It's a wish list. I mean, I've spoken with business analysts that on the JD, it says, oh, you need to know how to use this particular skill. And the person got into the company, they have not even implemented the application to start using it. So just know at the back of your mind that job descriptions are wish lists. It's what the employer wants, doesn't mean they're going to get it. So as soon as, if you look at the JD and you can meet 50% of those requirements, please go ahead and apply. You need to go, when you're looking for jobs, going with that mindset. Look at the job description. If it's 8 requirements, can I meet 4? Yes, apply. That's one mindset we need to overcome. The second one is, give me a second. So the second mindset is okay, so when you're applying for a job, when you see the job description, you need to go into them before you apply. You need to go into the mindset of the recruiter or the hiring manager. You need to wear the hat of the recruiter when you're looking at the job description. Don't wear the hat of the applicant, which is you trying to apply. When you're looking at the job description, they say, oh, we need you to have visual skills. We need you to be able to gather requirements. We need you to have experience using SAP. And you're going through that job description. Wear the hat of the hiring manager. Okay, so if he's saying that they want visual skills, so possibly visual might be the major thing they're working with in the organization to draw flowcharts. Okay, that's one. If they're saying, oh, we need you to have experience with SAP, then you tell yourself, okay, that means the ERP they are using in the organization is SAP. Do I have skills on SAP? Have I worked with SAP before? Can I quickly gather up skills with SAP? So you're looking at the JD with the eyes or with the heart of the recruiter or the hiring manager, trying to ask yourself that if I was the one that wrote this JD and somebody wanted to apply or somebody's applying to, what would I expect? What would I expect to see in the person's resume that will make me pick that candidate? So you're going in with that mindset, and then you are revamping your resume or tailoring your resume with that mindset of the recruiter or the hiring manager. Okay, so if they say that they want SAP as a skill, have I worked on any SAP projects? Even if I was not the one directly championing the project, did I contribute? Have I been a team member to any project that had to do with SAP? You want to highlight that in your resume. Even if it's not a paid job, have I volunteered somewhere in a system where we used SAP and maybe I was the one input, maybe I made some data input, or I raised POs, or I put in requisitions. As long as you have like an experience, just any experience using the skill, then you know that you can develop on that experience on the job. You have the skill. You have knowledge of the skill. So you want to wear that hat. And so at that point, you don't want to be leaving out the fact that even if it's a volunteer job, you don't want to leave that out of a resume. You want to put that there and say, this is what I did during the volunteer role using this particular software. Because the recruiter wants to know that you know what the software is about, and at least you can log into the software and get to a particular, I mean, if it's Word, open Word and type in ABCDE, you know how to use it. You even know how the icon looks like. So wear the hat of the recruiter when you're analyzing a JD, or the hat of the hiring manager when you're analyzing a job description to apply to. So going with that mindset. The other thing now is targeted search. At the beginning of your job search journey, make up your mind what you want to apply for. I remember when I started my job search journey, like I said, I first tried to pivot into technical support. So I was applying for technical support, I was applying for business analyst, and I was also applying for project management because I had good experience with managing projects. But then at some point, I'm asking myself, okay, so which one am I going to put in my LinkedIn profile? Is it technical support? Is it project management? Is it BA? You get confused. And you're not able to, because each and every one of these domains require different skills. You cannot focus yourself or channel your energy in achieving or in acquiring the skills that you need, because the skills are diverse. So at the beginning, make up your mind. I would say narrow down to one, but if not one, narrow down to a maximum of 2. That these are the 2 jobs I want to apply for. These are the 2 roles. I want to apply to either be a BA or a PM, or I want to apply to be a technical support or a customer support. Just narrow it down so that it will help you channel your energy in the right direction. Because job search is a full-time full-time job in itself, and it drains your energy. So you need to be able to channel that energy appropriately. So the second thing is your personal brand. I've spoken a bit about that. Your resume, your LinkedIn, and in your interviews, you want your personal brand to stand out. Now, this is a picture. The first one is a picture of a thrift store or a garage sale, like we call it here in Canada. Someone out of their garage, they just put stuff in. And then the second picture is one of a proper store you go in. You can see all the beautiful handbags are hung there. Now, the first one, a lot of us on our resume and in our personal, in branding ourselves personally, we brand ourselves like the first picture, work experience summary. Like you go into, I guess I should probably ask, which one would you prefer to go into to go and shop? The first picture or the second one?
The second picture.
Okay, why?
Because it's really well organized, looks beautiful, and you can always pick what you want. The colors and everything is really set. Exactly.
So this is exactly how you should be branding yourself as the second one, strategic best personal brand. Because, and I'll start with the resume. When we put out our resume, a lot of us just work experience, we dump all the work experience into it. You are giving the recruiter, the hiring manager, a garage sale experience. You are leaving him or her to search for which one is relevant. And practically speaking, nobody has that time to start searching. If I look at your resume and I cannot see anything stand out that matches the job description, I'm throwing it out. The recruiter probably has 1,000 resumes to go through. So you want to make sure that you are giving that recruiter or that the hiring manager a good feeling, shopping experience when they are looking at your resume, when they are looking at your LinkedIn profile. Be strategic. Make it organized. Now, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you will not see that I've worked as a technical support before, because it doesn't matter to the role that I'm currently occupying or that I was applying for. I can say that I've worked as customer support, I've worked as technical support. Hell, I've even worked like a logistics before. But how logistics doesn't help when I'm applying as a BA. So if I put all those in my resume, then I'm giving the hiring manager a garage sales support. He'll start picking out which one is relevant, and nobody has that time. They'll just drop your resume. So you want to give them the second picture, this feeling, this branding when you're presenting your resume and even on your LinkedIn profile. Go straight to the point. What the recruiter needs or what the hiring manager needs. My resume is, I'm looking for someone that has experience gathering requirements, working with SAP, knows how to use Visual, PowerPoint, Excel. Then don't add any other skill that they don't need. You can add other things that may be related, but don't compound your resume with unnecessary skills and turn it to a 4-page resume. The first thing, when I say 4-page resume, if I'm a hiring manager, I'll just run. I'm like, where do I start from? Where do I end? Because they also are in a battle for time. They need to do it on time. So they really appreciate, make it compact and straight to the point. Show me the skills that are relevant to this job search that you are looking for. Now, when I was working as an engineer, I also manage projects. When I'm putting out my resume, if I'm applying for a project management role, then everything engineering that I did during those, say, 4 years, I take it out. It's not relevant to that application. I only put in the things that are relevant, which is the project management experience I gained. A lot of us wear many hats. Even as a business analyst right now, I'm wearing a lot of hats. I'm managing my projects. I'm doing the BA. I'm even doing on some of the projects. I'm the technical person doing the configuration, the development. So in our previous work experience roles, we wear a lot of hats. In Nigeria, you might even be person serving your Gatti. But you're not going to put that in your resume. But yeah, you were wearing that hat. So if you actually did that, and then you are not applying as, for example, now a chef or a chauffeur or a tea maker, then obviously you put that in. Oh, I made tea while I was working as a business analyst in so company, because at that point it's relevant. But if it's not relevant, don't put it in your resume. Just take it out. Be straight to the point. Your LinkedIn, the same thing. You want to use keywords. There are keywords that are relevant to the business analyst role. If you don't have those keywords in your resume, then recruiters cannot search you out. Business analysts gather requirements. Work with the technical team. Different keywords, process mapping. David, help me out here. There's so many keywords that need to come in when you are searching. Process mapping, then you can talk of the tools, you can talk of Lucidchart, you can talk of Visio, you can talk of
requirement gathering.
Yeah, other tools, project management, Jira. They are just key skills, or like key skills and key tools that you need to have as a business analyst. So those things should be in your LinkedIn profile. So if I'm a recruiter and I go into the LinkedIn and I search for requirement gathering or business process mapping, if you don't have business process mapping as a word in your LinkedIn, you don't show up in the search. So those are keywords that must be on your profile, whatever profile, might be Indeed profile, any job site that you are using. Those keywords must be there. So how I did this, or what helped me with mine, was I pulled up, I think I analyzed like 10 job BA job descriptions. And I looked at about 10 or 20, and I looked at the keywords that was common across all those things. And I made sure those keywords were on my resume and on my LinkedIn profile. So once any recruiter puts in that keyword, my name comes up. And as well, you want to be active on LinkedIn. If LinkedIn is your primary search engine, job search engine, then you want to be active as well. Because LinkedIn also has this algorithm that pulls up the most active people. They come up the list. Not that you will not make the list, but the ones who are contributing more, who are more active on LinkedIn, they come up the list. They pop up first. And that's the way the recruiter is going to go down the line from the first, and they may not even get to the last. If they get to the fifth person and they find who they are looking for, that's the end. So you also want to be active on those job sites where you have your resumes. Change something, apply, add more skills as you are getting more skills. Do something different on LinkedIn, comment on people's posts, make posts on BA itself, if you are looking for a BA role, and that's what keeps you active and brings you up the job search line. So revamp your LinkedIn and make sure it shows that you're a business analyst looking for a business analyst role and has the keywords that all business analysts are expected to have. Okay, so there are like different like job sites. I mean, you also want to make sure that your resume is, for those of us in North America, and I don't know if you use it in UK as well, ATS compliant, and it's all back to the keywords. Because in a job description, a lot of companies use ATS checkers, well, big companies or medium-sized to big companies use ATS checkers. So say, for example, the job role says I need 5+ years experience as a business analyst. Now, in your resume, if you don't have 5 there, you have missed a keyword. And they all have, and they have, the ATSs are configured such that, I mean, each company knows the particular keyword that is mandatory. Just like a business analyst, there are mandatory requirements, or there are requirements that must-haves. So if you are not meeting that must-have, it's going to drop you off. Automatic rejection. Boom, those are the ones that you see rejection the next day, because they've passed through ATS. In fact, some of them don't even wait to the next day. The next hour, you have seen the rejection email. Because as soon as your resume goes through that ATS checker, and it just hits this thing, screens the keywords, you don't meet the number of keywords, you didn't meet the must-have, rejection email straight up. So if you have 7 years as experience in a business analyst role or in any role, and you're looking for, in the JD, it says 5 years experience. You want to put that 5 in your resume and put 5+ years experience, because you have more than 5 experience. So you have captured that keyword. If you put 7, you have lost that keyword. So put 5, make sure that 5 is there, 5 plus experience. Then other keywords, and sometimes the ATS checkers, you need to be very specific. Sometimes it would say, it might say Office 365, and then in your resume you put O365. You have missed that keyword. You have to put Office 365. So make sure that the keywords in the JD are present in your resume, so that the ATS checker picks up those keywords and your resume would stand out or pass the ATS check. Now, another thing with resumes is a lot of us will list out responsibilities in our resumes. We are all responsible for something in our different work. You have to list out your achievements. Now, I'm not saying don't list out responsibilities, but my rule of thumb is at least each work experience that you are highlighting should have at least 3 achievement statements. Now, if you are the hiring manager and you saw these 2 things on a resume A has analyzed root cause and preferred solution to improve process safety. And then resume B says improve process safety on field locations by analyzing the root cause, researching on the best practices, and engaging stakeholders instrumental to effecting change, resulting in a 50% reduction of site safety incidents within a year. Which person would you pick? You can just put it in the chat or unmute yourself. A, B, which one would you pick? Okay, Esther says B. So that's why I say when you're looking at the JD, look at it from the heart, where the heart of the recruiter. Now, to you, if you don't see B, A is okay to you, and there's totally nothing wrong with A. But then when the recruiter has to compare A and B, he has A and he has B. There is one is AI, the other is AI human. and he says B, he's going to drop A. So don't put yourself in that situation where you are dropped because you didn't put in your achievements. So write achievement statements in your work experience. So work experience 2020 to 2024. Did this, I mean, improved on this, or put in an achievement. Don't just write out the statement, put in measurable achievements. It might not be in percentages, it can be, okay, reduced process safety incidents by 50%. It could be, saved 100 man hours, but let your achievement be quantifiable. Let them see that you're also thinking about the big picture and how it affects the organization. So you can think with the big picture in mind. It's not only about doing your role, it's about doing your role well and impacting the organization in a positive way. So you want to let them know that when you're thinking about how it impacts the organization, and show that in your achievement statements. So each work experience section you have should have at least 3 achievement statements, and they need to stand out. So the first bullet point has to be your achievement statement. It needs to stand out so that your resume stands out. I'll just try to rush through this here. So accomplish X by doing Y, resulting in Z, is basically usually the statement you use for accomplishments. Now, the next one I would say is, so next thing is networking. So you want to leverage networking. Like somebody had earlier mentioned, you might be putting out a lot of applications and you're not getting any success. You also need to leverage networking. Warm connections, cold connections. So warm connections would be people that you know personally, or like you're on LinkedIn, they're your first degree or your second degree connections. People, maybe a friend's friend that you've met before. Those are warm connections. When you're, dealing warm connections, you don't want to be complaining about your job search journey, or how it's not so nice, how you're being rejected, or how you want to tell them, go straight to the point, what you want, what it is you are looking for. Now, that person may not know anybody, but may know somebody that knows somebody. So instead of saying, I'm tired of job searching, the job market's so tough, I'm not getting any outcomes, be more targeted and let them know what you're looking for. I've been targeting business analyst roles in oil and gas, or in health, or in the banking sector. I've had some good conversations. I've put in some applications. I'm hoping to reach out to more people. Do you know anyone I could reach out that could be of help? Do you know anyone I could approach? So you want to let them, people can't help you if they don't know what you are looking for. So you have to let them know what you are looking for. And you have to keep saying it. I'm also guilty of that, especially those of us who are introverts. We don't like to talk a lot. But then we need to learn the art of networking. I'm still learning. So be able to, when you see people, be able to discuss about, say what you want and say it strategically. Now that's for warm connections. Now, cold connections. You can't just chat up somebody on LinkedIn and just start telling them, please, I'm looking for a job, or can you help me? This is the role I'm looking for. No, you can't do that with cold connections. Networking is like depositing in a bank that you may withdraw from. You have to deposit something first before you withdraw. So if you're reaching out to a cold connection, say for example, a recruiter on LinkedIn that maybe posted a job role you're interested in, you first have to go through the person's profile. From there, maybe you can see what the person is interested in, usually from their posts, maybe what they're passionate about, and at least compliment that person first. The first chat should be, oh, I went through your post. I absolutely love your profile. I'm fascinated by the experiences you've gathered so far with your work experience. Do you think I would like to discuss, more about it? Or just drop it at that first and see if the person will respond. Nobody ever says no to a compliment. Like they'll first smile like, oh, really, you're interested in me? Or you like my profile? Before then you go on to, chat with the person more, and then you now place your ask. Oh, I saw a role you posted, and I'm interested to apply. Do you feel like, what do you think I should do? Should I send you my resume to apply? I've already put in my resume. How do you think I can go about it? Or do you have any tips on how best I could, tailor my resume to fit this profile? Or anything you want to say. But at first, deposit something into that bank before trying to withdraw. If you don't deposit anything, you're obviously going to meet a wall. The person is not going to respond to you. So you want to be, appreciative of the person first, pay the person some compliments, speak about, oh, maybe you guys have mutual interests together. Or the person might be posting about animals a lot. Oh, I also love animals. What sort of animals do you like? Blah, blah, blah. Develop that connection first before going into an ask. So, I'll just quickly rush through this. Okay, so the last one is negotiation. So we've gotten interviews. We've gone through the different phases of interviews. Now we want to negotiate. So there are different things you can negotiate on. So the base salary might not be good, might not be what you're looking for, but there are other things you can negotiate on: flexibility, you can negotiate on relocation bonus or a sign-up bonus, or maybe if in North America, usually typical start date is like 2 weeks from when you get your offer. You can say, oh, can it be 4 weeks instead? I have a couple of things I need to take care of. Or, you can negotiate on different aspects of a job offer. The most important aspect, or most aspects most people look at, is the base salary. But then if they are not budging on the base salary, then there are other things that you can negotiate on. Now, before you go into negotiation, you obviously want to research what exactly the salary range for that role you're applying is. And there are different tools you can, websites you can use. You can use levels.fyi, you can use Glassdoor, you can use Comparably. Those websites, or those, they give you like an idea of how much it is, and be specific when you're asking, doing that search on Google. Be specific about the sector, because the amount the business analyst is earning in the health sector is way different from what they're earning in the oil and gas sector, different from what they're earning in the banking or the insurance sector. So you want to be specific when you're doing that research, the particular sector that role is in. So you know how you can negotiate better, and you don't undercut yourself. So do your research, ask other people. If you have similar friends that work in similar roles in similar sectors, also ask them, what's the salary range of this role in your sector? And they can give you an idea, so that you're not going in blindly to negotiate. Because a lot of us, and that's, we also lose out on that, because when we go into the into and sometimes it goes up to the first interview. The recruiter will tell you, oh, this is the amount that we are looking at for this range. What amount are you looking at? And if you go like above or two under that range, they'll ask you first before they tell you theirs. You already like disqualify yourself. They don't even bother going ahead with you. Say, for example, they want to pay 50K. Then they ask you how much do you want. You say 100K. They're like, oh, this one has already passed this thing. There's no need to go ahead with this person. So when you're having that conversation, you also want them to know that you are flexible, depending on other factors, that there are other factors to negotiate on. So you also want to know that, let them know, okay, you're flexible in doing this. And then treat negotiation as a teamwork, the first teamwork that you are doing. The recruiter is on your team. When you're speaking with the person, as in, try to find a mutual, don't just be rigid or treat it as this smile. Oh, these are my concerns. Do you guys think you can go up on the base salary, or so that for this, location I'm living, the cost of living is pretty high. Do you think you guys can go a notch up? Or would you guys be open to giving me a relocation bonus to relocate to where you are, or stuff like that? So there are different, depending on that peculiar situation, there are different negotiation points and there are different ways you can handle negotiation, basically. So I'll just go through the last one before we take any questions, because the time is spent. So now we're already, for those of us that are already business analysts, we're already in the profession, we just want to learn how to grow as business analysts. These are just basic things to excel as a business analyst. So the first one is skills. You want to ensure that you continue to develop your skills as a business analyst. You never get to a point as a business analyst and say that you have reached, you are developed, like you're a good business analyst. No, you continue to develop your communication skills, your facilitation skills, your organization skills, analytical and problem solving skills. Those skills are key to a success as a business analyst. If you cannot communicate, then you're already setting yourself up, and you're not developing on those communication skills. You're already setting yourself up for failure. Because the key number one skills as business analyst, you must be able to communicate, active listening, be able to ask closed-ended and open-ended questions, know when to ask them, so that you can gain or get as much requirements as possible, and drill down to exactly what the need of that person or that department or that organization is. Asking questions and communicating. Facilitation, the same thing. You facilitate workshops. You need to be able to keep workshops active. You need to be able to get people to participate and share their ideas. You need to be able to organize properly. Now, the second thing is mindset. As a business analyst, you must have a growth mindset. You must embrace growth. You must be agile, basically. Things change all the time. Like, you start a project now, 2 months down the line, things have changed on the project. So you must be able to be adaptable. You must be able to be agile, be able to shift when things are shifting. You quickly reset and shift with it, and know how to battle it. If it's something that might cause an issue, you analyze and like, okay, I don't think this is the way we should be going. So we need to embrace growth, we need to be adaptable, and we need to have a leadership mindset. As senior business analysts, most especially, you have other business analysts that you're mentoring, you have other people, maybe project managers, junior project managers that that are in your team, that within your team that you're mentoring. So you also want to have that mindset, leadership mindset, be able to share, be able to collaborate with them, be able to guide them, to foster a culture of excellence in the team. So you want to be able to take them, show that you're a leader that leads by example. You are a leader and not, you can be a manager, but with people, and like I posted, I can't remember when, a couple of days ago, managers manage processes, leaders manage people. When you're dealing with people, you have to wear a leadership hat, not a manager's hat. So you have to be able to understand each person and work with this person, work with their strengths, work with their weaknesses, to be able to bring out the best in everybody, even as a leader, as a business analyst. And finally, the strategies to succeed as a senior business analyst. Identify and work to accomplish long-term goals. Now, you're always thinking into the picture. You're always into the future. You're always looking at the big picture. how does this affect the organization as a whole? This project, this action, what is it going to achieve? What's the implication? What does it cost? Is it going to cost the organization? Is it going to affect us negatively? Is it going to affect us positively? So we're always looking at the big picture and trying to achieve and setting long-term goals and trying to achieve those long-term goals. Now, you also want to implement a framework for knowledge sharing. As a senior business analyst or a business analyst, most times we tend to work in silos. You do your thing, I do my thing, and which is why in the end the organization always suffers, because then you're working on this project, the other person working on that project, we're not collaborating, we're not sharing information, we are reinventing the wheel. The same person is doing more than one person is doing the same task, burning energy, unnecessary energy, and wasting unnecessary time. So you want to be able to collaborate and share knowledge. So this person knows, oh, this is what I'm working on, or this is what you are working on, this is what you are working on. And then you can come together to to collaborate on how best to tackle each of the actions that need to be closed out. And in that way, the team can operate more efficiently. And then the last two is you learn to delegate and learn to coach. Now, delegation, I can't remember, is it the Pareto principle, like 80% of things you do, you don't really have to be doing it. It's only 20% that really need. So do the 20% of things that you know that you only absolutely have to do, and delegate the rest 80%. Teach others how to do the rest 80% and focus on the 20% that only you is able to do, maybe not perfectly well, but very well. Because perfection is another thing that we struggle with as business analysts. We want everything to be perfect, and then we end up missing our timelines and stuff. So it's better to act and correct yourself as you're acting, the mistakes that pop up as you act, rather than waiting for everything to be perfect before implementation. Because something must go wrong. If you have delved with software implementation before, you know that there must definitely something will go wrong. But if you continue to plan, you leave the implementation to the last minute, and then you implement, and then you don't have enough time to resolve issues that crop up during implementation, then there's an issue. But try to put in the action as fast as possible so that you can then deal with whatever issues that come up with those actions. And then finally, coach and mentor other business analysts. It's when we share our knowledge and when we share ideas that we actually retain those ideas and retain that knowledge. So as business analysts, we should learn to coach and mentor other people, younger ones, so that even the knowledge we have, we can retain it ourselves and it stays with us and sticks with us. Thank you. Any questions?
Wow. Oh, wow. All I can say is that is profound, that is profound. That is coincide, and that is it was quite robust, I must say. I've learned a lot. I know people, you have a lot of questions, so let's take your questions one after the other. Anybody? You can omit your mic rather than using the comment section. I think people are still trying to digest what you've said to them anyways. So any question from the community?
Yes, maybe we are looking for who to start. So
All right.
that once something comes up, everybody will bring up their own ideas and questions. So Susan, I want to really thank you for the way you started and the way you ended. In fact, you're able to link everything. When you started about the hurdles, I was seeing myself into the hurdles, but I'm yet to see myself coming out of it, because you've come out of it. You understand? I'm yet to see myself coming out, but I can tell you that I have been writing CVs ever since I came to the UK. I thought it was just beans, that you did not CV. But I didn't know that there are more to it. So thank you very much. A lot of things that I'm going to put into my CV, and a lot of things that I need to bring out. So you said they are not relevant. I appreciate that knowledge. But what I want to ask is that, talking about the LinkedIn profile, people like us, we are still looking for a way to balance ourselves, maybe as a business analyst, or we came out from the banking, or should anything come up, we just need something. So we are not trying to be specific at this time. What do you advise us, or what do you advise me? Should I remove the other career and focus on just one, or put in all and then wait, anyone that comes, you take it? And then how do I capture this in my LinkedIn profile? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, MC. So, I mean, like I said earlier, I feel like the best way to go about it is to limit yourself to 2 career paths that you want to go, so that it's easier for you, even in developing your skills. So you can develop your skills in those 2 career paths, because and another thing is, those 2 career paths, they need to be somehow related, right? Else you'll be pulling yourself in different directions, and you become even more unsure. And you can only look at it this way: you can only become a pro in something that, in one thing at a time, or something that you continually give yourself to. You cannot be a professional in multiple things at the same time. You have to, at a point, dedicate yourself to something. So I'll say just limit it to 2 that you think that this is the way I want to go, and focus on that 2, and put in all your best in that 2, and see how it goes from there. Because I really believe that it's also because maybe you are looking in different directions at the same time. That's why you're not able to develop your skills in one particular one. So say, for example, now you're applying as a business analyst, and you have, let's say you get interviews. Now, if I've done 10 interviews as a business analyst, then I have an idea of the kind of questions that will get asked. I have an idea of how the interview process typically will go. But if I'm applying as a PM, applying as a business analyst, applying as a tech support, applying as a customer support, then those are 4 different ways. They have 4 different sorts of interview parts. They have 4 different sort of questions. You cannot get the best answering a particular question until you do it over and over again. So just pick 2, limit yourself to that 2, and then per your LinkedIn profile, if those 2 are not related, I mean, if they are related, then obviously you can put, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, I think one of my work experience has business analyst / project manager, because I have the 2 and they are somehow related. So you can actually put that / there. So you have the 2, and then put in the skills or your achievements that are relevant to those 2 career paths under that thing. But if the 2 jobs that you are looking for are not related, then you need to, is that I don't think it would be right for you to, I'll probably say maybe just hibernate your LinkedIn profile. Because if you apply for a job and then they go search you out on LinkedIn and they see that you're a totally different path, that's already a recipe for failure. That's already a recipe for failure for you. So at that point, you don't want to be, because you're telling 2 different stories and you're preaching 2 different things on your personal brand. So it's better, if you're not yet sure of where you want to go, then it's better that you just shut down your personal brand, which is your LinkedIn profile at this point, and just face the applications, just be sending the resumes. At least even if they research you, they are not saying a different you, an alternate you, basically. But what I would say is just focus on 2 and put your energy in those 2.
Okay, that's brilliant. Speaking of personal branding, right? Okay, before I go on, go for your question, Solomon Domo. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Hi, thank you so much, David, for this community. Susan, thank you so much for coming online to give us this impactful, how to build our CVs and then interview process. I'm sorry I came in late. I was a bit busy. To round up on what the previous person, the question the person asked about
on where to like be stable on balancing your previous experience and maybe business analyst. Like for me, I'm in the process of self-discovery. I'll put it that way. I have a robust background in sales, business development, customer service, and I'm new in business as a business analyst. Although I've had some experience on business analyst, but not as a professional. So my question is, at what point do you call yourself a business analyst? Must you practice? Okay, let me just say I just finished the certification on business analyst and project management. So at what point do you call yourself a business analyst? Must you practice first? Like you get a job as a business analyst before you can call yourself a business analyst? Or after your certification course, you have knowledge about it on the tools, practical understanding of the tools and the responsibilities. So can you call yourself a business analyst? So I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. So
Okay.
I guess I'll ask a question back to you. Are you a chef?
No, I'm not a chef.
What does a chef do?
Cooking, kitchen stuff and all.
Do you cook?
Of course I do cook.
Do you do kitchen stuff?
Yes, I do.
So I'll ask you again, are you a chef?
Yes, I'm a chef.
I guess that should answer your question.
Okay.
So it's not in the certification. It's good to have the certification, but it's not in the certification. It's being able to perform the roles and the skills of a business analyst and have the skills.
Okay, so long as you are confident on the skills and the tools, you can call yourself a business analyst, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, you don't have to be confident. I mean, every industry is different.
Okay.
If I have 2 years experience, for example, I have 5 years experience in oil and gas. I'm currently working in manufacturing. I still had to learn.
Okay, good. I have
You
5
still
years
learn.
experience in oil and gas as a business development analyst, which in turn I grew up to be in an executive level before I came into the UK.
Yeah. So as long as you have the skills and you're able
Okay.
to show for those transferable skills to whatever industry you're applying to, then
Good.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Susan. Thank you. Yes.
All right, thank you, Susan. Ademola.
Oh, okay. Good day, Susan. Thank you so much for that powerful section and very, very enlightening. So my question will actually be sequel to what Solomon actually asked. In terms of, she made mention of like she has the skill, but in terms of being a business analyst or not. So in that kind of scenario, how will you advise someone to tailor his or her CV? Because in that kind of scenario, you are not more of a business analyst as a professional, but you have you have actually conducted, let me put it that way, some part of the skills, or you have some part of the skill set. How will you advise based on that? I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
So I think you're asking a similar question. So what I would say is, if you're pivoting from a previous role into business analysis, yes, you have maybe in your previous role you've gathered requirements, you've mapped processes, you've drawn flow charts, business process maps, and all of those skills you need as a business analyst. You have those skills. Now, when pivoting, you need to show that you have those skills. So in your resume, those are the skills that need to come out aside your job role. So I'll give you an example. So when I mean in my previous role, I started as an engineer, right? But I started doing project management, but my role did not change. They didn't change it to project manager. I was still behind the engineering role, but I was managing projects and I was handed projects to manage. Now, that's how a lot of us have our backgrounds, and that's how a lot of, even in my current role as a senior business analyst, I'm doing IT. Because I'm in the IT department, people walk up to me and like, oh, my computer is not this. If the person that is handling it, the tech person is around, like, oh, sorry, that's the person handling it. But if the person is not around, like, okay, if I have some time, I can take a look at it for you because I know what to do. Now, I have that skill. I've gathered that skill, but I was a business analyst. If I'm going to apply for a tech job, I'm going to say that I have that technical skill because I did do it. But my role was a business analyst. So you want to have those transferable skills. You want to showcase those skills that are relevant to your role and put it out in your resume. What I do most times is, my role was an engineer, yes, but I manage projects / project manager. So it is not eroding the actual role that was my title, so to speak, but also shows that I also gathered skills, or I also did this while in my role as an engineer. I don't know if that helps.
Definitely. Thank you so much. That's what I'm trying to get. Thank you so much. It helps.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Ademola, for your question. Solomon, I'm gonna come back to you. Zainab, do you wanna go for your question?
All right, thank you very much, David. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Susan, for the lovely presentation. Just like David mentioned, it was quite robust. I think it touched all aspects. And I would just like to add to what others were saying regarding their previous backgrounds. I would say, to me, I feel it's a plus, knowing that business analysts can be found in almost every industry. So it's just about the way you position yourself outside there. So say, for instance, you have a background in banking and you have like 7 years. You find out that there are job posting out there whereby they are looking for business analysts within banking industry.
Exactly.
So it's just a matter of, sorry, I have my little one here. It's just a matter of adapting, your responsibilities in line with what a BA will do in a banking industry. So that's to say that all the years of experience you've had earlier is not a waste. So just need to tweak it to align with what a business analyst does. So that way you can still retain your years of experience. You can even say just, a BA with 5 years of experience, and that you have that domain knowledge, which is a plus as a candidate. Yes, I would say that. My other question would be to Susan, please. The job market is quite competitive. I agree that one strategy is very important in this time. What would be your advice regarding applying to multiple roles? Tweaking CV for each application is not very easy. So do you still go in line with, apply for as many jobs as possible? If you have not applied to 30 jobs in a week, you are not doing your best. Or what would you say in that regard? Thank you.
Okay, so everybody is unique, and I'll just tell you what I did. So I had my standard business analysis resume, and then I had, when I see companies that I am absolutely interested in, that I read the JD, I researched the company, I want to work for this company, I take my time and I tailor my resume towards that job description. But for other companies that I'm like, okay, well, I'm just 50-50, I'm not sure whether I want to work for them, I can send my generic business analyst resume. But bet you that generic business analyst resume has all the keywords that usually a JD of a business analyst would have. So it's not like I still didn't tailor it, just that I didn't put in any specifics there. You probably would have most of the skills. That one would have a lot of skills and have, my achievements on different areas. But then when I see a particular job posting or the company that I'm interested in, I take my time and I tailor that towards that application. That's what I did. Depends on you. Because we're also in a game of numbers. The more you put out, the more, the percentage you can get receive on, basically. So still put out a lot of resumes. I'll be put out a lot of applications, but have the ones that you really want to get tailored, because you want, you are really looking forward to those ones you want to actually work for. Have those ones tailored, so that you know that you probably will get a positive response to that. So that's what I'll say on that. And I mean, nowadays you even have like various AI tools that do that. So I think Teal does that. Some do auto applications on your behalf, as long as you have put in your resume and decided which sort of roles you want to apply to. There's some software that actually do that for you. But I mean, I didn't use that during my time. I did number click apply. I didn't do any auto apply. But then, like I said, the ones that I was really interested in, I took my time and I tailored the resume. So you also want to follow that targeted approach to make sure you are getting the result you want.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you, Susan. Solomon, please go for your question.
Okay. I hope I'm not out of place. You said you have a background in oil and gas, and I've been seeing BA roles in IT, retail, healthcare, but I've not really seen in oil and gas. So I don't know, is there any website you can recommend for me to check if that's okay?
Oh, there are BA roles in oil and gas everywhere. I know I can't even count how many interviews I had on that. So on LinkedIn, if you filter by the industry, you can filter the industry, and then you will see the BA roles crop up. So you can check LinkedIn, you can check Indeed.
Okay.
I mean, there are some, I think, remote.co for remote roles. So just search, but make sure you are filtering by oil, and if you are particular about oil and gas.
What should be the keyword when I search? What should I search for, please?
So you can do business analyst and oil and gas, and it will bring out yes. Or you can also filter by the companies that are in that oil and gas, and it will bring it up for you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Any other person, ask your question now. If you have anything that you need clarity on, we have Susan here to answer your question. Okay, Esther, go for it.
Mine is not actually a question. Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you, Susan, for this section. It's actually insightful, and I actually have passed through the process, so you're actually on track. How can I be your mentee, please?
Send me a DM on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn name, I think, is Sue D.A. Sue D.A. Sue D-A, or you can ask David. He can always get it across to you guys. So just send me a DM on LinkedIn.
All right, okay, I'll do that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Speaking of, I think any other person before I ask my own question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Susan, thank you very much for this session. I really enjoyed myself listening to you, and also the insights you've given about the hurdles that you crossed and the strategies that you used, crossing the hurdles. That is quite robust, and I really enjoyed myself. Now, my question is this, because I want to believe I'm speaking for everyone, which I can't say I'm speaking for everyone anyways. You know that some people, they have a particular CV for a particular role. Now, there's someone that's calling herself or himself a business analyst, okay? And he got a message, from the hiring manager saying that we want you to come in. We're looking for a change analyst, right? Now, this person has been a business analyst and taking a key from what you said about, using your transferable skills, tailoring your CV to that job role. Now, I'm not sure most people, now when I say most people are not really skilled in that aspect. When you start creating a transferable skill, to align with a particular role that is out of your scope, although you know what to do and you've been on projects, what would you advise that kind of person to do?
So the question is, if the person wants to apply for a change management analyst role or something and
Yeah.
doesn't have the experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at the, like I said before, if you look at the JD and other responsibilities, you can do up to 50% of it. Go ahead and apply. Another thing is, I mean, change management. And I guess a lot of us we need to first, you need to do like self-reflection to actually go through all the projects or all the things you've worked on while in your journey, in your career journey. Because even though it has the fancy name change management, it's something I'm sure you have done before. So how do you manage change? Like, what are the processes? So for example, I know I once applied for a change management or change analyst role. And I mean, I remember that, I mean, during my work journey as well, I'd actually managed change in a project. So change management is, and I'll probably say you also, if you're applying for a role, please let it be something you have a flair for. Don't apply for something you don't have a flair for. If you don't have a flair for it, you're going to suffer in the role because you're battling with two things: trying to adjust, trying to like the role, and trying to adjust to the role at the same time. So you need to be able, if it's something that you don't have like 80% confidence that you can do, then at least have a flair for learning how to do it, because you need to learn on the job and learn fast. So change management, it's something that you can read up. Even before that time, you can pick up a course on change management. You'll be surprised or you'll be shocked that it's something you have done before. I remember when I was going through a change management course and they were talking about the ADCAR principle and how you use it to manage change and everything. I'm like, this is exactly what I did when I was implementing this project during my time. So I've actually done change management. But the question to me I asked myself was, is this something you want to continually do? Is this something you have a passion for doing? Because, I mean, if you are managing change, then you are dealing with people and you're trying to convince people to adjust to a change. So if you're not that kind of person that is an extrovert or is out or you have influential skill, like the skill of building influence over people, then you don't want to be, and you're just pivoting. You don't want a lot of odds to be against you when you are starting your role. So weigh your options. If it's something you really, if this is something you have passion for and you feel like you can learn fast and pick up on the job, if your answer is yes, go ahead and apply for it. As long as you've had the experience and you have, I mean, well, when I say experience, not massive experience, as long as you have done something similar before and you know that you can do it, then go ahead and apply for it.
Awesome, John. And this is the second question I'm going to ask. I'm going to call it a
I
day.
thought you said what's the last question, David.
Just last one. One more thing, because people are not asking questions, and I'm sure I'm going to receive a lot of questions because we have a session where we do CV reviews and also like mock session like that. Speaking of that, you can also connect with Susan. You know, she runs something similar, and she's also a coach, so you can connect with her and take that further. Now, my last question, and this is my last question. We have people using generative AI at the moment. Okay, a lot of people, you hear them say, "Oh, why don't you just copy the job roles? You know, copy it, put it into AI, you know, and write it like that." And some people, or most people, fail to apply that rule of thumb. It's not about you putting everything in that AI platform or on that AI platform, but it's about leveraging on it to give you an insight to what you want to do. Right. Now, what would you advise people using AI to revamp their CV?
So go for it. Like David has said, there's no, the way I see AI is whatever you put in is what you get out. So if you just go in and you dump the job description into AI and then you expect to get something reasonable out, yeah, I mean, you're going to get something out, but it's not something that's going to be tailored. So what I do, especially if I'm reaching a roadblock on how to write, it might not only be in resume writing, might be even in my work, but specifically to resume writing now, Now I see a skill that I feel like I have experience in, but I don't know how to express it. So I go to AI, I go to ChatGPT or Perplexity, and I tell Perplexity, I tell them my background. This is my background. I have a background in oil and gas. I've worked as an engineer. These are the projects that I've done. Now, I want you write an achievement based on this requirement. And I mean, knowing my background in oil and gas and projects that I've worked on, give me an achievement statement that I can use to meet this requirement. And then he gives it to me, and then I tweak it, and then I use it in my CV. I mean, AI is there. We need to use it for research, use it for whatever thing it can do for us. But be careful about what you put in, because what you put in is what you get out. So if you are specific in putting stuff into AI, you get good results. And then you can tweak that result to match whatever thing you want to. I mean, AI can now put in something I'm like, oh no, I can't defend this in an interview. They ask me about it. So I take it out. But then if you really put in the specifics into AI, it will give you a good result. So, I mean, I'm all for AI. It helps make the work easier. So use it to achieve what you want. As long as you can defend whatever it is you are putting in your resume when you have questions asked on it.
Okay, great. Thank you for that response. I believe we've all been able to learn one or two things, or even three, from her. And I hope you'll be able to apply this as you go on in your job hunting or trying to cross your hurdles. So like she has said, I've gained a lot today. And please note that, okay, I think somebody's trying to connect with you, Susan. So please note that we will get our PowerPoint and also drop that in the community. I'm elated to have you here. It's really a great session, and I hope that you're gonna come back again someday.
Thank you. I'll be glad to come back here to chat with you guys anyway. And all the best in your job search journey if you're job searching, and all the best in your business analysis career journey if you're already on the roll.